bonjour, and welcome to the Amateur Detective Club. This club is exactly how it sounds. A bunch of amateurs talking about their favorite mysteries. So if you encounter a real mystery or a murder, contact the proper authorities. Do not come to us. We do not know what we are doing. But enjoy the program. Allons-y, let us begin.
Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose.
The first ever meeting of the Amateur Detectives Club is now in order.
Gaffle.
Gaffle or gavel?
Gavel.
Gaffle?
Gaffle.
Gavel?
That's nothing.
Judge
Is it?
Hammer.
I hope that's
Garofalo.
nothing. Judge Hammer.
Judge Hammer. Gavel.
I've lost my Judge Hammer. I'm Judge Purr.
Yeah,
Purred.
I mean, could you imagine if... So, what about this? What about this? Night Court, but with Thor?
I like this case. Another.
No more tables.
Justice. Boom!
Every single time he hits his hammer on the
An angel gets his wings.
Yep. And it also falls apart.
Yes.
The angel?
Yes.
Wait.
So it's just a pair of wings appears and then falls down? I'm confused. What does this have to do with murder?
As you, dear listener, must know by now, this is the first ever episode of the Amateur Detectives Club, where we do talk about mostly Poirot things.
Other detective-like things, but mostly Poirot.
Yes.
Potentially.
We're starting there because
Yeah.
he's the best.
So
Period.
we've heard.
So we've heard. Vaguely.
I watched Poirot growing up, and he's the best.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I mean,
The
world's
greatest
great-
detective in
yeah.
the world.
I feel like I've known about Poirot more than actually had his name in my head. Like, I feel like I know things that are Poirot and didn't know that they were Gosh, I'm having trouble
Poirot.
saying things. Poirot.
That's how Murder on the Orient Express was for me. I knew of it.
Yeah.
Like I'd heard the name of it. But I knew I didn't know it was by Agatha Christie. I knew Agatha Christie wrote mysteries, but I didn't know which ones.
Several.
I just had like
Yeah.
vague knowledge and none of it was connected.
Same. Oh, hey, should we introduce ourselves?
I am Miles Neuvirth, boy detective.
Okay, I'm Melissa Meli, the spy.
And I'm Hercule Poirot, probably the world's greatest detective.
Weird guest star in
Yeah.
the first episode.
Wow.
I'm Tristan Miller, and I don't know what my name is on the chat because I thought that was a bad idea.
This is Tristan Miller, Kid Cop.
Kid I know I'm on board again. Tristan Miller, Kid Copular.
There we go.
Thank you for joining us on our adventure today. Today, in honor of the movie that just came out, we're doing our first episode on the film Murder on the Orient Express.
Yes, indeed, we
Moida.
are.
Moido.
This film was directed by Kenneth Branagh.
Is that how you decide to say his name?
Just now.
Okay.
I usually say it Kenneth.
Oh. How do you say his name?
Branagh.
Branagh?
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard Branagh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's more correct. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just ask the man himself, I guess. I'll probably edit this part out.
maybe.
We'll see.
Probably not.
We'll see. It's like, oh, so you want to look like you want to look like the most pretentious person in a Poirot's fan cast. Yes, I do. I really do. I'm really into that. It's the only way I can finish.
Just
Yes, correct.
listening to my own Poirot fancast and hearing myself be the most pretentious.
Yeah, so he directed it and he also starred in it
That
as...
doesn't sound like him.
No, not at all. As Hercule Poirot, not Hercules, as he mentions twice during the movie, because that's a thing. He does not battle the lion, so he says.
Yes.
Not in this one.
No, maybe
And-
next time.
Man, this guy cannot get a vacation.
Yes.
Am I right, folks?
Very much like I am too old for this shit vibes and yeah.
Just keeps getting called back. So the way I pitched it to people was like, do you like French people and also the show Monk?
Yes.
Because it's that.
It's also So, yes, he seems to be going from mystery to mystery and hoping that each next leap will be his next leap home. But no, in fact, it is not. He keeps getting more and more mysteries to solve.
Waylaid by mysteries on the way to mysteries.
Also, if he comes around, somebody is getting murdered.
Yeah.
I actually, that's one of the things I've written down for the book. Is like it's awful convenient that Poirot just shows up.
And then someone gets
like,
murdered.
I think he's murdering people, so he keeps a job.
It'd be good job security.
Yeah.
There's always a murder, much like our dear Jessica Fletcher, another great detective.
I do want to throw out there, this will be super spoiler heavy. One, we all loved the movie. Go see it.
Yeah.
Two, we're going to spoil the movie if you have not seen it yet.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet,
Poirot was the
turn this
murderer.
off. Yes, there we
Poirot's
go.
the murderer. All right, turn
If
it
you haven't
off.
seen it yet, turn it off. Go see the movie. And then come back to us.
You did that?
We'll wait. Okay, you back?
What about that end credit song, am I right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So good. Now that you're driving home from Murder on the Orient Express, listening to our sweet voices, you know, in fact, it was not Poirot who killed the person. It was literally everyone else.
Everyone's the murderer. Everybody's
So
the
don't
murderer.
trust anyone.
Yeah,
That's-
everyone's killers.
Killers of...
Killers.
So, okay. So, all right.
All right.
Should we do a recap of this?
Okay,
Like
sure.
a quick recap?
I would like to talk about the beginning of when he's in Jerusalem for like a
Okay,
hot
sure.
second.
Let's talk about that
'cause
because
he-
that's apropos of nothing else.
Yeah, and it also like is a very like they did a very good job like establishing the whole world and who Poirot is very quickly.
Yeah.
There's two moments that were really bothersome for me though. One was the moment where he steps in the poop and then he has to step in the other because the reason that was bothersome for me was because I'm like, yes, that's how the world should work because of my mind and the way it works. So that was kind of like weirdly triggering for me, which is kind of odd, but it also like gave me a hope of like, hey, maybe if I'm successful enough in my career, I can just like ask for 2 perfect eggs and then people will give them to me and I don't have to deal with shit. Which sounds wonderful.
Well, yeah, but he's not a jerk about it.
Oh, no, not at all.
It's like, yeah, it is not your fault. It is
Yeah.
it is the fault of the chicken. I blame the chicken.
But there's also the thing of like, the reason I like Poirot a lot is actually because he's like exactly how I would want to behave. Because he's very upbeat, he's very kind and clever, but also is like, I know what I like, and this is what I do, and that is fine.
No, he's pretty great. And, I mean, he's also sassy, and it's really
Oh, yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's so
I'm
good.
equally disappointed by your company.
Wonderful.
The other thing is, the other thing that bothered me in that sequence was he just sticks his cane in the wailing wall. No, thank you, sir. You can't just
Yeah.
do that.
No, you can't.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
You
Yeah.
can't. It's a
Yeah.
super great moment. What happens with the
Yeah.
cane? But you can't just stick a cane in a wailing wall.
No, I mean, no, don't do that.
No.
But that aside.
Yeah.
That aside, that whole opening sequence was still kind of
It's
awesome.
one of my favorite things
Reminded me of
for
Indiana Jones,
films
actually.
to do. Like, one of my biggest complaints with Pacific Rim, which is obviously very similar, like kind of like a retelling of the Murder on the Orient Express story, I think.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
It's nothing
It's a
like what
lie.
I'm saying.
He's
I'm
being
lying.
a
Great.
what's known as a fucko.
I see.
But like whenever you have a story surrounding someone who's like super good at their job in some way, I feel like the first thing you need to do, because there's got to be conflict, that's how movies work, the first thing you need to do is establish who they are and that they are good at their job. Whereas in the first scene of Pacific Rim, they established these guys fighting the giant robots, and like part of the movie is like the main character's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this again because the one time when I was younger. But the first thing they show us in the movie is that one time where it goes bad. So,
Yeah.
like, you started off your movie by showing this guy failing, and then the rest of the movie, people are trying to talk him into doing it again. I've never seen him be good at it.
Well,
Why do I believe that he's
here-
the guy for the job anyway?
What you need to understand. White men fail up.
Oh, right. Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, I forgot about that. Oh, what?
Ah, beans.
But yeah, for sure.
But so this did a phenomenal job. Like, it was quick, to the point, showed you exactly who your main character was and what he was capable of.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's
Also
just
his
competent
demeanor.
filmmaking.
His
Yeah.
scene
Yeah.
with the kid was very good.
It
He
was.
was very excellent.
measuring the eggs. So yes, also Tristan and I were very hungry when we went to go see this movie.
All the
and
food
there was
looked
all this
so
beautiful, delicious looking food throughout the entire thing. It made me really want to go on a train.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like having delicious looking food in movies is going to be more and more common with the rise of these dine-in theaters. Because I was at a dine-in theater and I was seeing it. I'm like, yes, I guess I will be ordering food. Thank you. And then
After he goes and solves the case of who stole a bit of artifact in Jerusalem, he's like heading back to, what is it? Is it London? But then he gets waylaid to...
He's going somewhere. I don't know.
and then like, well, actually, we just found this out about another case, and you need to go there.
Yeah, and so he hops on the Orient Express because if his best buddy is the conductor, well, the manager of it,
Yeah,
and
what's
happens
his
to meet up.
What's his name? Bones?
I thought it was
That's
like-
wrong.
I think it's Book.
Book. That makes more sense.
Bookie, as he
I'm
calls
wondering because we've all read one Poirot novel,
Yeah,
and in
one.
that one we don't follow Poirot, we follow someone
That's
following
consistent.
Poirot. That is consistent.
That is
and
consistent,
I
just like
wonder
John
if
Watson.
Book
Yeah.
is that guy from
That
Orient
guy.
Express.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Some will find out when we get to
When we read that book.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm looking at the name. I think you're right, though. Keep talking.
Yeah. So he meets up with him, and they have a good relation, like a really jovial relationship.
Because
where-
he's a bad person. He's like, yeah, you are, but that's fine.
Yeah.
He's like one of those. He's like a cad. He likes the company of, prostitutes, and he likes.
He loves his job because he's a wealthy do-nothing on a train.
Yeah.
Like, he
like-
wines and dines famous people on a train and feels entirely content with that being his life.
Now, that being said, that sounds pretty dope.
It sounds like a pretty good life.
It does. Okay, yeah. His name is Book, and it's spelled. Wait for it. Bouc.
Fascinating.
Do with that what you will. Yeah. So.
That sounds right. I've been spelling book that way my whole life.
Oh, Tristan, I have some bad news for you.
Oh, no!
Oops.
Yeah, so then from there we meet a whole cast of characters. Most of them
white.
Most of them white.
Sorry.
That's true. It's a true thing. And then we meet this guy who is obviously, just by his face, the worst person in the world.
Yeah.
And
Oh, so...
He looks just like
God,
Johnny Depp. Weird.
Yeah,
oh
it's
yeah,
weird.
and it's played by Johnny Depp.
So, two things.
Yeah.
One, about J-Depp. One, if you don't go see this movie because of him, that's fine. Two, every time he's in a movie, I see how long it can be until he makes that stupid fucking grimace that he makes in every movie where he turns his mouth slightly down, raises his eyebrows, and looks exactly camera left. It happens every time, and it happened 15 minutes into this movie, and I was upset because it was the worst shot in the whole movie.
I mean, but he had to get it done quick because he did die right away.
yeah,
Yay!
that is the upside. Is
So the upside is he's terrible, and the character
also in the movie?
Yes, and the character is terrible, and then he dies.
Yep. Yeah.
So everybody is suspected of murdering him.
What I didn't get, so right after he dies, Poirot says, "This man is dead." Also, by the way, he's this man from another case.
Yes.
How did we establish that? Because I remember, like, Poirot said it, and I believed him, but I didn't see how Poirot knew that. I don't know if they showed it and I just missed it, or...
You mean, okay, so the thing is, the guy who gets murdered is he killed a child. And it set off this whole series of events where lots of other people, either their lives were ruined or they died also as a result of this. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, but how did we know this guy, Johnny Depp's gangster character, was that guy? Other than Poirot just telling us.
I forget.
Because his bookie was related to that, and so he deduced from that information. So his bookkeeper was the son of the lawyer who worked on that case.
But that's how he knew that Johnny Depp was the bad guy?
Yeah.
Was that other guy?
Yeah, because he deduced from that, and then he confronted that about him, and then...
Oh, yeah.
And then the lawyer was like, yes, that's correct. And then he went from there. I
Because
believe.
he seemed to know that right after the man died.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did
no,
know, but
so-
he figured it out a different way, and I don't remember.
And I'm
Yeah,
wondering,
no, you guys are right. It's a
is
different
it
way.
possible that was the information? No, like, because they never tell us really the information that he gets that puts him on the train. I want to see this film again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just a whole. It was not really a hole. It's just something that they just told me instead of
think-
letting me try and figure out.
I think it's something that they find in his bunk when he's died.
It's possible.
I think that's what it was. But I'm not exactly sure.
I actually think he figures it out before, because at some point in the beginning of the movie, Johnny Depp's character, whose name I don't remember, I guess we should probably know that.
Ratchet. Mr. Ratchet.
Mr. Ratchet. That's the alias he's going by.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that also, if that name doesn't scream, I'm a bad person and about to die,
Yeah,
I don't know what does.
is.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Good one, Agatha.
You hack! Making serialized murder mysteries?
I mean, but like, she was also one of the first people who did this,
Yes.
so I guess everybody else stole it from her. So yeah, at some point, Ratchet goes up to Poirot and is like, "Hey, so will you be my bodyguard?" And Poirot's like, "Nah, because I think you're terrible, probably."
Yeah.
And I think it's about from there that he figures it out.
Okay.
But I don't remember how. There's so much deduction that happens. It's sometimes hard to remember.
Yeah, to follow.
Yeah.
That's why we're just amateur detectives. Right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, no, we're not pro level yet. But
Gotta win a couple more skate contests and then we'll
New
do it.
idea.
oh
Okay.
boy,
It would probably be an anime, but like being a detective
So we
as
just-
a sport, like as a competitive
So
sport.
we just slid into elevator pitch for a second here.
a little bit, yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so I have another idea, which actually pertains to this podcast, and it's if we get X a number of the cases, like because we guessed who did it, because you meet all the characters. If you get the X number amount right, you get to go up a level in your detectiveness.
Oh my God, yes.
So it's a
Yeah.
competition between the three of us.
so
Okay.
we have to make a chart of what the next level of detective is. Mm-hmm. Great, I love it. I feel like
Okay.
this is going to suddenly be my job.
I mean, you're the one that mentioned the
I
word
know.
chart. Whereas I was like, about 10, and then we'll call it something different. Sure.
Yeah, no. Okay.
But, yeah.
Cool. I like it.
Speaking of,
yes.
unless did you have something?
No. Go ahead.
Speaking of, who did you think initially did it once we met all these casts of characters? Because we have like a princess, a butler, a bookkeeper, a cartographer. No, what was she?
What?
Governess.
Yeah, a governess, a doctor, a professor,
A
a salesman.
There's a lot of characters in this one.
There's literally 12.
My issue, and I'm gonna talk about this more next episode, but it's like the idea of looking at it from like simply the facts and looking at it narratively.
Yeah.
Because like right away off the bat, you see the doctor and the governess talking on the boat in a way that's like,
Suspiciously.
in a way that they do know each other and they are planning something. And it's tough to be like, that is a clue, when also it happened like 10 minutes into the movie, and I'm like, they're not going to tell me who did it 10 minutes into the movie, so it can't be
But
that.
here's the
Well, they
thing.
So it's
might.
like divorce, yeah.
But here's the thing, though. I actually fundamentally disagree with that. Every murder mystery does that. 10 minutes in, you're told who the killer is, and then you spend the rest of the time trying to figure out that at the beginning. Scooby-Doo does that all the time.
That's fair. That's
Like,
fair.
which is the same formula as Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes.
But like a lot of very often it'll
Murder,
be
She Wrote.
yeah
Yes.
they'll usually
And
they'll
Miss
put
Marple.
someone in and tell you, well, it can't possibly be, or
Yeah.
they'll just mention someone
Yep.
once and never mention them again, and then it'll be the murderer.
Yeah.
Whereas like that was super suspicious. Like
Yeah.
so it's tough to divorce those two parts of my brain.
Yeah.
Sure. But it also does become very clear that the doctor and the governess are romantically involved, and they're played by Daisy Ridley and as Leslie Odom Jr.
Ah!
And they're both perfect and wonderful, and I love them.
Yeah, they're incredibly talented, and if they did make real life babies, they
They
would
would
be
be the
beautiful.
most beautiful babies in the world.
I would be like, I'd be happy and upset at the same time.
Right. Right.
I think you can deduce why.
You're really into Leslie Odom Jr.
Yeah, I really am. And just,
That's
Aaron
the one.
Burr, sir.
Yeah, cool. We've gotten to 20 minutes into the movie? No. Oh, who did we think did it? Who did we think did
Yeah.
it?
Right. So that's tough. Like, the first moment, like, I thought maybe I knew who did it, did come, like, it was only 15 to 20 minutes before the end, and the idea did pop into my head, what if it was all of them? Like, and I hadn't, like, settled on that, but it occurred to me at that point, and before then I was just like, I don't know, I was a little more passive watching than I was reading. Something about, like, watching it, I'm like, I knew it was going to be over a lot sooner, so I'm like, I will just take in these clues, and then they'll tell me.
Yeah. No, I actually ended up there, Miles, same, but meaning like that I just took in the clues, but very initially Michelle Pfeiffer's character.
Is that who that was?
Isn't that who that was?
I don't know. She looked real familiar.
Oh boy, I guess I should know who I'm talking about. Gosh,
That
there's a
white
lot of
gold?
good people. Yeah, it is. It's Michelle Pfeiffer. Caroline Hubbard. Yeah, Hubbard. She has this
Mrs.
interaction
Hubbard.
with Ratchet, that makes it seem as though she really hates him a whole heck of a lot, and so I was like, oh, maybe she's gonna kill him. That would be too obvious.
Yeah. That's the thing. They made everyone too obvious,
Yes,
so you
yep.
couldn't find the killer. Cause
It was
It was everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it was, star-studded cast, by the way. And not just, like, any old stars, like, people you like to see act in things.
yeah, yeah.
Not just like Bruce Willis 12 times.
Right.
Could you imagine a
in
movie
wigs.
sequel?
In wigs.
Sequel to Looper, clones, also goes back in time, kills himself. So,
Oh, my gosh. I think you
Klooper.
probably just
And it's a
spoiled the
murder
movie for
mystery.
me.
Klooper.
There we go.
Yeah.
If you like that, listen to Elevator Pitch.
Right.
Yes, but we also had Derek Jacobi in there, Josh Gad, who was
Gad did a
great.
very good
Yeah,
job.
he did a very... Judi Dench made me cry by breathing. Did I tell you? I told both of you about
Yes.
this. There's
Yeah.
that moment where she's remembering something and she just does this little... And tears started coming down my face. And I was like, don't ever leave me.
Judi Dench is masterful in all ways, and I could watch her do anything.
She is a level 19,000 wizard that
Yep.
was specialized in charm, I guess.
Man-magery.
Man-magery?
Man-magery, yeah.
And she rarely smiles. And is yet the most charming person on the screen.
Absolutely.
It's so great.
Yeah.
And she has these two little dogs, and she puts them like on the table in one of the first scenes. And someone passes by and is like, "Have you ever seen
think it was-
anything more
I do-
disgusting?"
It might have been the professor? Or no, it was Ratchet.
Yeah,
it was Ratchet.
Yeah.
Oh
Because
yeah,
we
no,
wanted
'cause
to
he's
not
a
like
jerk.
him right away.
Like, you don't like dogs?
Well, he doesn't like dogs on tables.
Whatever.
But
Same thing.
It's also...
Dogs belong everywhere.
Dogs should be wherever they want to be. No, that's not true. Message to my dog, who is deaf. If he is listening to this somehow, get off of that. Whatever you're on right now, don't do that. Also, I love you, and you're the best creature in the world. Okay. So yeah, we get lots of good folks in there.
The time that I cried in this movie was actually in the reveal.
Yeah.
And there's just something about them. Cause like it's more often like big broad ideals or like specific like people's ideals that'll get me, and just the moment at the end where he knows who did it and he sets the gun on the table and is like, he can lie but I can't.
Yeah.
Like that got me. Like, I thought Kenneth
Yeah.
Branagh crushed it. It was a fantastic moment.
I do think the greater crime than the murder, though, is the crime of mustache. He should be locked away for his mustache crimes. And I'm a man who likes a mustache.
I mean, also in this movie,
It fit, I guess.
there was another character, and it was a mustache.
Yes.
In and of itself,
Poirot and his real assistant.
his mustache.
Which is like one magnificent mustache
okay.
on top of a second more magnificent mustache.
What about this? It's like, you've seen the movie Ratatouille, right?
Yes, for sure.
You know how he can't cook at all? Perot is an idiot. His mustache is alive and is a genius.
It's riding this squat egg-headed man.
So when I knew who did it, was when they said he was stabbed more than one time in various ways. I'm like, oh, so it was more than one person.
Right.
And
So I
probably
thought,
was all of them.
That's fair. But that made me think for a bit was that it had been the doctor and the governess.
That me too.
Because she was left-handed and he was right-handed.
Yes.
So like they were
Yes.
both just going hog wild.
So yes, they did do it.
Yes.
As did
Yes.
everybody
Everybody
else.
did it.
And it turns out though that of course the mastermind behind it was Michelle Pfeiffer's character.
Yeah.
So we were all right, but not quite.
Yeah.
Much like...
Yeah.
Is that how you say his name?
I thought it was Poirot. Wait, guys. Poirot's of the Caribbean.
No, because Johnny Depp's in that one too.
No, we
But
can
he
just
dies?
remake it with Kenneth Branagh.
Yes. I'd watch that. I actually did enjoy
Murder,
it.
as
murder
Poirot.
on the
As Poirot.
high seas.
Murder on the Black Pearl.
There we go.
I loved Poirot's mustache, and mainly because, like, in the books, it's noted, he's short, he has an egg-shaped head, and he has a notable mustache. But this is set in a time when literally everybody had a mustache.
Even the women.
Yeah, so all I could think of is, like, why is his noteworthy other than being big? Whereas, like, the way they did it, like, I'm like,
It was noteworthy.
That's noteworthy. That is a noteworthy mustache.
For sure.
Yeah, and my qualm is probably that I just can't grow one of those because
Probably.
the
It's
main
really
when
just
I
jealousy.
can, I will.
Yeah.
Okay.
She hates when I have a mustache.
I don't like mustaches as a rule. I always just think that men should have beards, unless you're one of those men who shouldn't have a beard, and then
Right.
don't.
Right. So those are some rules you guys can follow at home. Have a beard unless you should not.
And it is a system entirely made up by me,
Send a photo. to-
Tweet at us at our new Twitter.
which we will put
edit
in
it,
right
which
here.
Tristan will edit in right here.
ADC pod. That's it.
Send in photos of
Probably.
your face
Not
for
probably.
Melissa.
That's what I'm gonna do.
for Melissa to judge whether you should have a beard or not.
Yep. You can
Or a
do that.
mustache. Send me your mustache photos, please and thank
And
you.
I will
everyone.
tell you that you should just have a full beard.
And I will tell you, keep doing you because you live your best life.
No, of course. And you can have whatever facial hair or lack of facial hair that you want to.
Except for what
I
Melissa
feel-
doesn't like.
I
She's in
feel-
charge. She's in charge.
Melissa is in charge of facial hair for the club. She's our facial
That's
hair
bad
treasurer.
because I want a mustache.
She's facial hair treasurer.
What are facile hair?
Yeah. Yeah.
Navy faciles.
Facile.
Yeah.
Ooh, that
Facial
sounds.
matter.
That's not good.
Facial matter.
I don't like that at all.
No, I hate
I
everything.
really hate that word. Make it stop. Cool. So now that we've settled that,
Settled that up.
there's more things in the movie that we should talk about. Probably.
Yeah. What? It's awful.
The thing is, most of the plot of the movie is Poirot talking to people and trying to figure out who the murderer is.
Yeah. But the way he'll ask questions in a way that it's not clear to them or off in the audience what he is trying to learn or what he's learning. So you have to be really observant to to follow along, which is part of the cool fun of the whole endeavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there had been a whole bunch of clues left in this because he was killed in his train car and stabbed a bunch of times.
Ratchet was not Poirot.
Yeah.
What a
Oh,
twist
yeah.
that would be.
Oh, man.
And now I'm a ghost. I'm solving ghost crimes.
I'm solving my own murder.
New idea. Ghost Poirot, also an anime.
Of course. So there were a bunch of clues that dropped in, and one was a handkerchief with the letter H on it. And then there was a broken watch at a very specific time.
Yeah.
And, it's just like, there's just so many things dropped in there. And I thought initially that all of these things were very purposeful red herrings.
Yeah.
That the killer had just collected stuff from the other people on the
Yeah.
train and just dropped them the fuck into the train car.
Yeah.
Which is
Which
actually
was kind of
what
true,
happened.
yeah. But it was just everyone.
But it was like, oh, I'll leave this. I'll leave that.
Yeah.
I'll leave that.
We'll all be each other's alibis in different order.
Yeah. So to be clear, and they were all, by the way, they all acted like they didn't know each other when they got on the train.
Yep.
And it was this like elaborate ruse
Yeah.
for Poirot and Book. Because everybody else knew each other, including the conductor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's also really cool, like, that there's a scene early on in the movie because Poirot's not supposed to come on that train
Yeah.
at all. They're full up, and that is very intentional.
That's
and then he shows up, and he shares a room with Josh Gad, who knows who he is, looks at him in the face, and you can just see him going, "We're gonna get caught.
This
Yep.
is a
This is how we shouldn't do this."
Yeah.
And then just so
That's true. I hadn't even thought of that.
Yep.
In retrospect, but yeah, it was a very good moment, and so yeah, he's bunking with Josh Gad, and they interrogate him, find out that he who is working. Josh Gad's character is working for Ratchet's character.
as his accountant.
Can we just call it by the actors' names, because I don't know
Yeah.
the characters'
He's
names.
McQueen, but yes,
Pardon
we can
me.
call him
McQueen,
Josh
yeah,
Gad.
that's fine.
And yeah, it'll be easier.
It'll be so much easier, and then
Joshua Gatterson.
that's clearly his full name.
Yeah. I thought
Yeah.
it was Gatterton. Weird.
Oh, no, it says it's a French variation.
But yeah, so he seems very suspicious because his don't remember.
He's been stealing money from his boss.
Oh,
and was worried he was
yeah.
going to get caught.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that could be it. And then we've got so the doctor and the governess who she doesn't want to say anything.
Which
Yeah.
is not a great move.
Yeah,
No.
she's like the most
Like,
suspicious.
Yeah, she is super suspicious.
Yes, because and it seems like she's basically trying to
Perfect.
cover up her love affair with
Me.
Leslie Odom Jr.'s character.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you said.
Tristan, you weren't in the movie.
A man can dream.
But yeah, so she's trying to cover that up probably and decides that that's more important than clearing herself of murder, I guess.
Yes. What's also very cool is the doctor does a great job of covering his tracks by being completely honest about his time of death and what's going on.
Oh yeah.
Completely well done there.
Yeah.
And then there's Derek Jacobi, who is the Johnny Depp's butler, who mouths off to him, and Poirot's like, that is suspicious. And he figures out from there that his character is dying of a thyroid cancer. And
Yeah,
that's
something like that.
difficult, but also is really cool because it justifies, like, well, why would you murder someone? It's like, well, I'm going to die anyway.
Yeah, so who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah.
I don't remember his connection to the family that Ratchet killed.
Right. So the thing that happened and the reason that everyone's kind of like, well, you know what? He's dead, but maybe that's fine. Is that so Johnny Depp's character, whose real name is Cassini or
I
something
think
like
so,
that?
yeah.
Is
Cassavetes.
that Cassavetes?
Cassavetes.
There we go. Cassini is something else.
9.
Oh, huh. Haven't even seen it. But so Cassavetes had killed the daughter in a family that everyone else in this play is connected to. Everybody,
Yeah.
like the mother of the child, her sister is Michelle Pfeiffer's character.
White gold.
Yeah. And then so
The doctor, like the father who ended up killing himself, served in the military with the doctor and put him through medical school.
Right. Yeah, like, so it's a whole litany of that stuff.
Yeah.
Josh Gad's character was the son of
the lawyer that was on the case.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Who ended up
like
being
got
ruined.
completely ruined because of it. Like every single person is embroiled in this whole thing. And I mean, it sounds like a completely terrible, awful crime that he did. Of course, he kidnapped and killed this
A
child.
4-year-old girl.
Yeah. But like, did anyone know why he did it?
Oh, he was
originally
extorting
for
money.
ransom.
Yeah, he was extorting money from the parents.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
great. Because
Yeah.
I didn't pick that up, and I was just wondering the entire time.
He did ransom, and then because he kidnapped ransom, and then when they gave him the ransom, he just murdered a little small child.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's pretty terrible.
Yeah. And then you got
the professor,
yeah.
who was actually not the professor but an ex-police officer.
It's just so good.
It's
Yeah.
very
Willem Dafoe's
good.
performance in that moment is incredible.
Yeah,
Because he just drops the entire ruse because he's pretending to be German. And then suddenly it's just like, no, not German
But
anymore.
here's the other thing. I've seen Willem Dafoe do a German accent in Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, and he does a very good German accent in this. His German accent, I feel, he did a purposefully bad job.
yeah.
Because, like,
That's
it's
fair.
fine. It's like a fine German accent, but it sounds very much like, just a German accent that you would do, and, like, that sort of thing. Whereas, like, in the other one, it's very good. And it's just, like, that made so much sense. It was really great.
Right, the fact that it was put on. Also, he makes these weird racist comments.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what does he say? Because he then, I think, tries to explain them.
He goes, sorry
away.
about the quip about colored people. I'm a half-Hebe myself, is what he says.
Yeah, and
Which
it's
is
just ooh.
Buck wild.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
this was written in a different time, so
Yeah. It also, like, it shows, like, you, like at the time, racism was so normal, even, like, being not racist, you were still like racist.
saying
Like,
vaguely
you're still
racist
saying
things.
racist
Like we
things.
don't use those words anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it did a good job actually of being of a time
Yeah.
without condoning any of it.
Which is nice because Poirot doesn't. Because
Right.
he also is like, what's kind of interesting is the theming of, there's themings of morality and Christianity throughout the whole thing, and that's actually really interesting and something that we've only listened to or read the one book. You don't get that in the first book that Agatha wrote, and I wonder if that continues, like if that builds towards something.
Yeah.
But it also gives you the best line in the fucking world. Is like, if you lie, there are two people that will know. You're God and Hercule Poirot.
Oh, it's so
See,
good.
that is the second best line in the film.
Yes. The
But
first
beat
best
only
line.
by
Oh yes.
yes, it's from the fudge.
Yes.
What is that? What is that word?
Since you have all seen the movie, you will know what we are talking about and rejoice in it as we currently are.
The third best is oh, Mr. Dickens.
Oh my god, that was the best thing. He kept reading A Tale of Two Cities,
Which
and,
is
like,
not a funny book.
No, it's not. It's one of my favorites, but it is not a funny book. And he is just laying in bed, reading on a train, which I don't know if you guys have ever done that.
Yes.
It's actually really wonderful.
It's excellent.
And so I read an entire book on a train once from, Germany to
Oh, well, you've been out of the country.
to Belgium, actually.
Oh.
Huh.
Belfast.
Interesting. Yeah, no, but he's just laying in bed with the book above his head and giggling. Mr. Dickens. And it's so delightful. And Tristan next to me just squealed with laughter. It was great. It was the best moment.
The biggest twist was that Kenneth Branagh's very funny.
He's so funny
He's
in this.
very good in this
He
movie.
did a really, really excellent job.
This is really as good when it comes to a project that a man is definitely producing and directing so that he can do a role he wants to. This is the best outcome you can
Yeah,
get.
best case scenario.
Like he was right.
I don't know. Jack and Jill by Adam Sandler's pretty good.
Pretty solid. My favorite murder mystery, because hopefully both Jack and Jill die in it.
She actually goes missing. Did you know that's the plot of the movie?
No.
She goes missing.
I was just hoping Adam Sandler would die twice in the movie.
Oh, God. Yeah,
What,
no, I
is
mean,
it Click 2?
Yes.
Clicker?
It
Click
is
and
a
click again.
delightful. It is a delightful film. It is not going. It's not gonna like change your life in any
but it's very nice.
But it's very nice.
And
Go see a nice movie, guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's good sometimes. And it made me really want to go on a train.
Yeah, I adored it. I wanna see it again in theaters if I can, and I want to own the film.
So how many trains out of 10 would you give it?
Like, I mean, there was only the one train, but it was a very good train.
No. Like, I rate your train.
I know.
Rate it. You fine. Mustaches. How many mustaches does this earn?
Oh, mustaches is good. That's a good metric.
At least 2.
Out of
how
10?
many?
Out of 10.
At least 2 mustaches. I know. I understand what you're doing, but like, actually rate this movie.
I loved it. Like, I had a great time. It's probably one of my favorite films I've seen. One of my favorite films I've seen this year. I'd go at least an 8 out of 10.
I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Are beards just a series of misplaced mustaches?
No, they're perfectly placed.
They're
But they are still mustaches!
they're a better placed mustache.
They're a better placed mustache. Exactly. Thank you.
Reminds me of when you make a me on, like,
Yes.
then you have to, like, you're repositioning the eyebrows and, like, oh, I can make the eyebrows a tiny moving mustache. So, like, you take a mustache.
I told you that
and,
in
like, make it
confidence.
bigger.
But yes.
And how many for you?
Yeah, definitely. Like 8.5.
And for me, he asks himself.
Yes. Tristan, I'll ask you, how many mustaches?
None. I thought it was very bad. No,
It's a twist.
Yeah. Zut
plot
alors. I think actually I'd give it a 10 out of 10. I didn't have a bad time at all. There was like 2 things that bugged me, and one was the mustache, but I got over it. The other one was sometimes Kenneth Branagh's accent was like that sort of thing, but I get that because he's not actually Belgium.
That's fair.
He's not Belgium, the country.
No, he's not. I was hoping no one was going to notice.
I have less complaints than you do, but I just assume that a more perfect movie could exist, so I can't give it a 10.
Well, for what it is, like, if you wanted an adaptation. So here's the I'm really interested to see and we're going to watch the Hitchcock version of this movie.
Oh,
this
man,
story.
that's going to be different.
Yeah, exactly. Because this was not suspenseful at all. It was really interesting and fun and like a very curious case, and I wanted to solve it, but I wasn't afraid the whole time.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that I'm gonna give the Hitchcock one like a 2 because I hate that. So that's why I liked it so much.
Right.
That's fair.
Because it's a perfect murder mystery because there's suspense because you want to figure out who it is, but you're not frightened.
Yeah. It actually was reminding me a lot of the Rockport Limited arc in Taz, which was just so delightful, and why I love murder mysteries and trains so much.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, not why, but like reminded me of why.
example
A
of
good
it,
example of. There you go.
But here's my problem with it. There is one flaw with this movie, and there is the lack of Tom Bodett.
Right.
There's so few Tom Bodett's in this, meaning none. But yeah. Oh, we didn't ever mention
What?
that Poirot lets them all go free.
Yeah.
It's what was delightful. Like, I did love that moment. It was one of my favorite moments of, like, confronting them, like, saying, like, I see that you've done this, and I can't even say that you were wrong, but I can't lie about it. And he sets the gun on the table and he says, so one of you kill me. And he has the police officer's gun, which is how he discovers that he was lying. He wasn't a detective. He was a police officer because of the type of gun.
Yeah.
And then their ringleader,
Michelle
Pfeiffer picks up the gun, points it at him, and says, I died already that time ago, and goes to shoot herself, and it was a blank. So the whole thing was like,
you passed my gun test.
yeah, it was basically like he needed to know if they were killers,
No.
because he didn't think they were.
Now, I have a thing. No, that's a technical. It wasn't a blank. It was not loaded.
Oh yeah.
Because a blank would have killed her.
Right.
Oh yeah, that close. Yeah, of course.
But there's that, and then I think that's the really wonderful theming of the film is that there is right and there is wrong, but there is also a middle. He says in the beginning there's right and there's wrong, that is it.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, he's changed his mind, which is really great for growth of the character, and also says something I think that we kind of need in society today, because a lot of things are polarized and it's really, really, really difficult to deal with.
Because of our our social echo chambers, we all get super extreme points of view.
And there's people who are good who do bad things, and there's people who are seemingly bad that do. It's all much more complicated than we often give it credit for. And yeah, it's really fascinating. And I mean, we've read one of these novels so far, but my assumption would be that he never lets the murderer get away.
Yeah.
And like that this is the first and probably, I would imagine, only time he does.
Yeah.
So that's,
All right.
really interesting. All right.
Do we have a sign-off?
I don't know.
Don't get murdered!
Guys.
Wait.
It is full of the
fudge.
I have been Miles Neuvirth.
I have been Melissa Meli.
I'm Tristan Miller.
This meeting is adjourned.
There it is!
Yes!
C'est lui pour moi, moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, la joué pour la vie. Et dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui bat.
I'm Bridget Cosgrove.
I'm Tristan Miller.
Tell me, Tristan, how do you feel about history?
I mean, I like it, except for it's the most boring thing I've ever experienced in my whole entire life, and I want it to stop.
If only there was a way that we could make you feel better about that.
Yeah, like if it was like funny and engaging and interesting with two people I really like.
Yeah, I think I might have solved your problem.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's our own podcast, Blank History Month.
Oh, that sounds really good.
Yeah, it's great.
When does it come out?
Every Wednesday.
Oh, I'll do that then.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, bye.